What's going on, y'all? Today we're going to be diving into the topic of fasted cardio. Does exercising on an empty stomach really have an advantage over fed state cardio? Stick around as we uncover the science and myth behind this popular fitness trend. Fasted cardio is when you perform your cardiovascular exercise in a fasted state. The most common way to do this is to do your exercise first thing in the morning after your overnight fast before you eat breakfast. The reason that people suggest doing fasted cardio in the morning is because that's when blood glucose is going to be at its absolute lowest point throughout the day. Low levels of blood glucose also means low blood levels of insulin, and insulin is a hormone that can shut off all fat burning. So the theory is because we have low levels of glucose and insulin in our blood that our body is now forced to tap into our fat stores to use as a fuel source. But does this actually hold true in practical application? The answer is yes, but also no. You've probably heard a lot of respectable people in the fitness scene say that there's absolutely no advantage to fasted cardio over fed state cardio. And they're partially right. This completely depends on the context of the individual. I read a paper by Lyle McDonald, so I want to give credit where credit is due, that really helped explain who fasted cardio is beneficial for. Lyle likes to divide people into 3 different categories depending on their current body fat levels. Category 3 is overweight and obese individuals. For males, this is over 25% body fat, and for females, this is over 35% body fat. Category 2 is for people who have a regular healthy weight and people who are slightly overweight. This is between 16 to 25% body fat in males and 25 to 34% body fat in females. And then category 1 is people who are already at a lean level of body fat and they're trying to drop even more body fat off their frame. For males, this is about 15% and lower, and females is about 24% and lower. In category 3, where people are overweight, they tend to have a lot of insulin resistance. Because of this, there's generally a large amount of fatty acids in their bloodstream. This sounds like it might be a good thing, but usually being overweight is associated with being metabolically inflexible. This is just a fancy way to say that their body is very inefficient at switching between burning glucose for fuel and burning fatty acids for fuel. It's almost as if their body has lost the ability to burn fat, even though there's a ton of fat available in the bloodstream. Lyle likes to address this issue by giving an overweight person a low carbohydrate diet and a glycogen depleting exercise program. This greatly helps them reset their insulin sensitivity and gain their ability to burn body fat back. Category 2 is people who have a regular body fat percentage to slightly overweight. In this category, there's not really a major issue in fat burning. As long as they stick to a basic calorie deficit and are following a well-structured workout program, these people will likely continue to see progress until they get to the top end of category 1. Category 1 is already a very lean individual. We essentially see the inverse of what we see in people who are in category 3. In these individuals, their body is very efficient at switching between burning glucose for fuel and burning fatty acids for fuel. There's a few bottlenecks here that hurt the process of fat burning. One issue is that a person who's very lean is likely very insulin sensitive. This means that very low levels of insulin can either store fat or inhibit fatty acid mobilization. Another issue for people in category 1 is that they've lost most of the easy fat to burn, and now they're stuck with more stubborn fat. I don't generally like the term stubborn fat, but this is actually a very real phenomenon. Areas of your body that have less veins and poor blood flow, like your stomach and your love handles, have a harder time transporting the fatty acids away from the cells where they can be metabolized in skeletal tissue. These areas also have a higher level of alpha-2 adrenergic receptors, and when these receptors are stimulated, it slows down fat burning tremendously. With all this information in mind, we can draw some conclusions about fasted cardio. For people who are overweight and obese, there is likely no additional benefit in fat loss by doing fasted cardio versus fed state cardio. There's also likely no additional benefit for people who are at a regular body fat percentage. However, I do believe that fasted cardio has an advantage for people who are already very lean and are trying to get those last few pounds of stubborn body fat off. Also, in the case of bodybuilders, there's drugs like growth hormone and yohimbine that work more effectively when taken in a fasted state versus when they're taken in a fed state. All right, so now that we've talked about some of the science and its applications, I want to give you some anecdotal evidence and my personal opinions. I do fasted cardio every single morning, and I oftentimes do an additional session of fed state cardio later in the day. During both cardio sessions, I'm working at the same target heart rate and the same duration. My fasted cardio that I do in the morning is almost always more difficult for me than the fed state cardio that I do later in the day. So if you're doing less cardio in a fasted state because it's harder for you, and you're able to do more total work in a fed state because it's easier for you, I still think you're net gonna burn more calories and burn more fat if you're doing more work. That being said, if all other factors are equal, I do think that fasted cardio has a major advantage in already lean individuals. If you're looking for a coach that can set you up on a great fat loss program, then look no further. Shoot me an email at robertjamesfitnesscoaching@gmail.com and we can set up a consultation, discuss your goals, and see what I can do for you. If you like today's video, please consider subscribing, leaving a comment, or anything that can help my channel grow. Also, don't forget to follow my Instagram at robertjamespdx, where I post informational content almost daily. All right, y'all, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch y'all in the next video.